Friends, it is quite late, right? The patch notes have been out for about, what is it, 5, maybe 6 hours now, and I'm here a little late. Oops, sorry about that. That's my phone going off in the background. Anyway, I've been very, very busy today, and that is why I'm recording this so late. But whatever, I'm not going to bore y'all with that. We got patch notes 26.6, and it looks like the reworked Shyvana is finally on the way. It's Shyvana time, y'all. So yeah, we took a look at Shyvana the last time. It's practically the same champion, just with some extra nuance added on for being a newer champion, which realistically is what most reworks should be, right? Anyway, looks like the nerfs and buffs, not a whole lot of changes actually. Yeah, it looks like the patch notes actually aren't that long, but here we go. The Shyvana update. So, for those of you who have not seen the new Shyvana, I'll give you a real brief overview here. So, her passive is infinite scaling armor and MR. So, just like Smolder has his infinite scaling, and Aurelion has his infinite scaling, Shyvana as well also has infinite scaling. So each stack grants her zero point 0.4 armor and MR. Large monsters and siege minions grant 1 stack. Champions and epic monsters grant 3 stacks. So the cool thing about this right away is that it definitely seems like they want her to be potentially playable top lane since, siege minions, which is what I care about. But yeah, I can definitely see this working kind of well. I'm actually shocked that it doesn't specifically give more for dragons, but this is fine. I wonder if grubs give just 3 or if they give like 9. Whatever. Infinitely scaling resistances. Ember Strike. So, her passive is that her attacks deal percent health magic damage. So, if you recall, her old Q did that, but it was I think it was after she landed her E on them. Then her next attack is an AoE, and then you can recast it again for another AoE, so it's kind of like a double active, or an active plus a recast, kind of like Zahen's Q. Inferno Aegis, this is a shield that also gives her movement speed. That is my phone going off again, I apologize. Her E is her Fireball, does magic damage. And her R turns her into a dragon, which empowers all of these abilities. Again, we went over this last time, so if you haven't seen Shyvana already, I highly recommend you go ahead and look at a little video. She really looks like almost the same champion, honestly. And then First Stand is currently going on. If you're into esports, you've probably already been watching. But let's get into the actual patch changes. Ahri. Orb of Deception, damage per pass, 40 to 140 is now 35 to 130. -5? I've been hearing a lot of people complain about how Ahri is, actually broken. And I don't play a lot of mid, and when I do, I haven't had the chance to, actually play against her. So I won't give my own 2 cents about how powerful this champ is, but 5 damage? It just kind of tapped her on the shoulder a little bit, huh? But I guess so. This is to stop her Q from being as potent with clearing a minion wave. I don't know. I feel like that is almost a placebo nerf. It's going to be just enough to get people off of Ahri. Azir! Because you can't go a single patch without changing this champion. This is the pro jail champion. Looking to make Azir a bit more powerful for players at home. Pretty appreciable for all Azir players, regardless of rank. So his Q AP ratio, it was 35%. Now it scales up to 55. So up to plus 20. That's got to be a big deal, right? An extra 20% AP scaling for a powerful mage? Whew. I guess he's more of a magic marksman than a typical mage. Arise. Damage. 0 through 45 now 0 through 72. So this scales with level. Oh, they increased the damage per level it gets by 2. AP ratio 32 to 62 is now 35 to 65%. Okay, so we actually got some pretty hefty Azir buffs here. Notice that it's right after the professional play patch that they decide, okay, we can buff Azir. I guarantee the next time the next international championship shows up, he's like when MSI comes around, probably Azir's getting a fat nerf. I guarantee it. Cassiopeia, base mana up by 30. I actually have not been seeing as much Cassiopeia as I thought I would be seeing. Twin Fang, bonus magic damage to poison targets. 20 to 112 is now 20 to 120. So a little bit of extra damage as well. Looking to get more damage in Cassiopeia's poison this patch, particularly for when her mid lane players. I guess the few times I do see Cassiopeia, it's when she's top lane. But yeah, I haven't seen a Cass mid at all this season. Lissandra, minus 0.7 armor growth. But her Ice Shard, 1 second lower cooldown. Lissandra's a weird champion to balance, I think, because she's almost like she's like a caster CC hybrid, right? Like, the big thing about playing Lissandra, I feel like, isn't really her damage. It's more of the fact that she is constantly locking you down while still being a mage caster, you know? Like, if you're fighting Lissandra, you are slowed, rooted, stunned constantly, the whole time. So I don't know about taking away her tankiness, but giving her more Qs. We'll see. I don't expect to see much Lissandra at all. I already don't see her, so her getting squishier, I feel like I'm going to see her even less, actually. Olaf top is fine, but he's lagging behind in the jungle, so Olaf gets a small base attack speed bump to help with his clearing. Undertow, slow amount, 25 to 45 is now 30 through 50. Based on distance. Ooh, for it's 1 to 3 instead of 1.5 to 2.5. So it's actually shorter at the smallest distance, but more if you hit it max range effectively. But it is a bigger slow overall. So that's definitely a buff. Top Olaf might still probably like this. Because when you're top Olaf, especially against champs that are hard to reach, you go Stride Breaker. So hitting a max range Q with probably, what is it? Approach velocity plus Stride Breaker? I mean, you'll be able to catch anyone, right? Tough it out, bug fix. If you cast W while the previous cast added, now probably reapplies its effects rather than refreshing. I didn't even know that happened. Reckless swing, damage to self, 30% of damage to 40% of damage dealt. So he actually gets punished a little bit more for using his E. A 10% increase in self damage is actually pretty significant. Because Reckless Swing refunds the damage it does, I believe, if it kills the unit. So this makes it a bit more painful to use this as a trading tool. Not bad. Pyke. Base stats. Pyke has lost 6 armor. Interesting. Told the line around being strong enough to be worth playing in most skill brackets and being overbearing in elite levels of play. He's crossed that line. I actually agree with this. I feel like I don't see Pyke a lot, but when I see it, he pops off. Right? Like, he is an assassin. So, you know, if you have a skilled player who really knows what they're doing and he can take advantage of what this champion is capable of, he just snowballs completely out of control. Because the moment he hits level 6, he doubles all kill gold value. So they just want him to be a little squishier so that you're more able to kill him when he's out of position. Shen, Twilight Assault, monster damage cap. River Shen? Well, it's actually a nerf to River Shen here. He lost a little bit of damage. It equalizes when you max the Q, but his early game is weaker. Really? I feel like I've been seeing Shen support more than anything. Interesting. I wonder what skill bracket Shin Jungle is popping off in. All brackets? Really? Except for Pro. I have not seen a single Shin Jungle. And I'm in Diamond MMR right now, so maybe I just haven't played enough games. Skarner. Mana cost. Minus 15. Third attack, max health damage. 11%. Okay. Our few Skarner top players have gained tremendous empathy for their solitary Brackern as their brethren scattered and left them to become the last of their kind. Yeah, so this is definitely aimed towards Skarner top. The weird thing about Skarner top is that he doesn't really scrap. Like, Skarner top is really just, you take Comet and you just throw rocks. And then you try to push someone under tower. He can't really scrap very well with a lot of other top lane champs. So we'll see if this makes it more worth it. I don't think it will. Tryndamere attack speed ratio increased. He got the same buff as Olaf, actually. 0.72, so it's actually a little higher because it's 0.725. Better than the Tryndamere buff is he's unperforming. Okay. Zahin. Zahin's caused one of the strongest top laners and junglers in the game. Yeah. I feel like it took them too long to nerf him, honestly. So, Ariat Rush, bonus damage to monsters lower. Dreaded Return, secondary damage lower. Really? So they actually did not touch his Q or his ultimate. They just tapped down some of the damage on his W and his E. Specifically his damage to monsters on his E. It's very interesting to me. Because you don't really care too much about the damage on his W. His W is more core to his ganking than it is to his laning. Alright, well, I don't really play a lot of Zahin jungle. I've been playing him mostly top lane, so we'll see. And then items. Chempunk Chainsword. Total cost, minus 100. Okay. It's really difficult because no one really likes finishing an anti-heal item. The only anti-heal item people will finish is like Thornmail. And even then, Thornmail's conditional because you have to be against an auto attacker. That also does AD damage. Sunfire Aegis. Bomby Cinder plus Chain Vest is now Bomby Cinder plus Chain Vest plus Ruby Crystal. Plus 600 gold. Okay, so you can get an extra Ruby Crystal in before you finish the item. It's still weird. Sunfire is kind of just not as good as Hollow Radiance. Hollow Radiance feels like a true power spike for clearing the minion wave. Sunfire is just like, it's okay. Right? You're playing a tank top lane versus physical damage. You just buy it. Whatever. It's a nice little quality of life change, though, so you're not sitting on a bunch of extra gold. Farming as supports. Minion kills before gold penalty activates. 24? Alright. I guess so. The reasoning is that you can only have one support item on the team anyway, so... Minion kills per 5 minutes before gold penalty activates. 30. So you can actually get away with killing a lot more minions now before you get hit with the gold penalty as a support. Alright. I guess for damage supports, that is a nice little quality of life change. And you got Clash, Arena. Yeah, short patch notes this time around for League of Legends. Only 13 minutes worth of chatting. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it here for the League of Legends patch notes, and then we're going to move over to TFT. So if you only were interested in the League of Legends patch notes, there you go. Not really a whole lot of changes. Very, very small. The big highlight, Shyvana is here. I can't wait to play her top lane and see how she feels. So, till then, I will catch y'all. Peace.